we have for you a very special person to talk about what's new in Adobe Creative Cloud and Adobe Professional Video Applications. Ladies and gentlemen, the Senior Product Manager for Adobe Video Applications. A warm welcome for Patrick Palmer. Yeah. Thank you so much, Pat. All righty.
How's everyone do today?
Welcome, thank you. Welcome. Obviously, I have to introduce myself as the new guy, and I think that comes with one perk. I can set new rules. And my rule is no slides, straight to Premiere Pro. You like that? Yeah. So, I'm going to start by playing a little bit of a trailer for a documentary for you. And then I'll talk about how it was put together with some of the new tools we're introducing here at NAB.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I've always struggled with self-doubt. All these questions about like, oh, are you enough? What are you gonna do with your life? When I am on that seam between society and the wild, it gives me a different perspective that I really value. We need nature to thrive. We yearn for these. We yearn to be tested, and we're all going to be gone pretty soon, so how we spend our time really matters. What gives me hope is...
Yes, how we spend our time really matters. That's true for everything in life as much as for editing. And so how do we save time? Well, by always making informed and intelligent decisions and using tools that eventually help you to thrive, at times punch above your weight, but most certainly help you to just get through the process and produce the quality that your customers demand. So I'll deconstruct this for you in several areas. I'm going to start with this. This is a problem that probably most of you come across every other day. Let me mute the audio for the next couple of minutes. So, well, 3 camera angles, and not that hard to guess what's going on here. So we've got 3 different cameras, 2 of them already LUTed, if that's a word, so a lot already put on, 1 of them not. I'm going to switch to my color workspace here. I'll quickly show you something that I define as a small but beautiful thing. We now have an effect switch straight in the Luma G Panel. It's just a very small button, but it makes all the difference in the world in your workflow efficiency. So our designers did a lot of testing here to see what else we usually have in the effects controls needs to live in the Luma G Panel, so you can focus on your color work there and have no interruptions and as less panels around you as possible. So once that's in, if I show you a bit more of the first clip and then the second, you'll notice there is a great deal of difference there. The 2 Sony cameras, almost the same, not quite a match with the red. So how do we do on fixing that? Well, here's a new button. This new button enables comparison view, and we think it's as important as it gets, which is why, unlike with some of the other things that we usually do when we bring new features into the program monitor, so you can arrange that and just push the buttons in that you'd like, we think this is as important as it gets, so it comes standard and it does this. So straight in the program monitor you get a 2-up, and you can very easily, quickly navigate from one chart to another, or if you want granular control, you can scrub here. And by the way, I might not be a good artist, but the engineering crew behind this is actually really fabulous. So whenever you feel like giving a round of applause for what you see, keep in mind it's not for my skill set, it's because they do great work. And this would be kind of the moment where I'd ask for it, because I think this is kind of a fabulous addition to the workflow. Now, I'm going to have the current one. As you can see, it's clearly marked in the interface. So this is my reference. This is the current one. I could start doing manual adjustments, but obviously we don't want to stop there. Once we touch something in Premiere these days, we want to go deep with the feature set. And that's exactly what's happening here. If you look at what's new in the color wheel section, you'll see that I've got an apply match function, and it comes with the notion that, oh boy, what's important about color matching? More often than not, you want to get a really nice match on the skin tones. And that can be a daunting task, especially if the basics haven't been matched yet. If you look at the scopes, just quickly illustrating that, you'll notice that they also automatically, you don't need to do anything to get that, they actually get into split as well. So you get a side-by-side here in the scopes to see what's happening, whether you're doing something manually or automatically, doesn't matter. I'm going to click on match. It's going to analyze that, and you can see what it's done. What do you think? Pretty good? If I want to take a closer look, I can switch this into something that you have seen for many years in Lightroom. I'm proud to say we've got that now as well. So I can go into side by side or in split. In this case, that's the perfect split. Sometimes you might want to see that top to bottom. That's an easy switch there. You can also, very much Lightroom style, just switch whether you want to see before or after to the left or to the right. All of that easily possible. I'll quickly show you why it's important that we have that face detection. That's very much a machine learning thing. So we actually look at multiple faces. We also look at the distance, foreground to background, so we can actually see the main person in that image. But it gets better than that. I'm going to do the match again without the face match, and you'll see why that isn't an important thing. The overall match might be better, but on the face, it's probably usually best for you to keep this on. But on top of that, we're not stopping you from making better choices, because at the end of the day, this is a machine. And a lot of people ask me these days, oh, will machine learning replace the artist? No. We want to give you a good starting point as quickly as we can, and then you're in charge, which is why we don't put this in a black box like you see with most applications these days. We dial in the values into the color wheel, so it's very easy to make a quick change and make that from rather good to perfect. I'll just quickly do another one so you see how quickly that works. Same deal. I get to a really pleasant result very quickly. I'll show you another area where this comes into a class of its own. If you need to fill in, like we did for this project, shots that you pretty much do not have, what are you going to do? So I'll actually start with doing something on my original shot. I'll quickly go out of the comparison, just beef that up a bit, so I'll give it a bit more punch. Definitely warm that up so it looks like it's the end of the day. Now, let's see what's going to happen with some of the shots that I've collected as candidates from Adobe stock. This certainly isn't a good match, and the new color match just easily allows me to say, let's just have a very quick glance at this and see if I can bring this in, if I can make this work before I license this. So instead of fiddling around with it, you can just quickly check dozens of shots and just basically check them out and see how well we do against either one of these. Cool? Yay. We don't quite end with the shot comparison in our entire framework for comparison views. So I can do something else. I can switch this to what we call frame comparison. Again, very much Lightroom style. So if I think that I want this actually a bit warmer, and I want it a bit more mellow at the end of the day, that's kind of my perfect shot, golden hour at the end of the day. We collected materials throughout the entire day. So I'll show you another way of matching here later, but the thing is, you can see I can now refine my grade with either one of the tools. It really doesn't matter what it is. I can also put in a vignette. It really extends to the entire tool set. You can easily see a before and after of whatever I'm doing, and again, move around the split to see what exactly the diff is. At any point in time, I can come out of it, go back into it, and then the beauty is it will start referencing the changes from there. So building a look, very easy, very nice. I can come back into the comparison then and say, oh boy, I've got a couple of other clips here, and they're not quite as nice a match. So I'll find the reference that I've already graded. Let's see if it can deal with that as well. So here's the one that we want to work with. And by the way, now it's kind of confusing because in my timeline, the reference is actually on the other side. So I'll just switch that. I find that easier, but the thing is, you deal with that the way you like, the way you can rationalize it, the way you most likely want to work here. So again, a match against an already graded image. This is as close as we get with the automated version, and a very quick shift, and I can guarantee you it's kind of hard to tell that we spend a lot of time here. Well, we didn't. Your customers might think that, and that's a good thing usually, isn't it? So professional quality, very quickly produced. Now, we want to do other things in terms of presenting you with an editing-centric view to other disciplines. So we're not trying to put everything in there is. We think there should be an easy way for you to get to professional results with great technology serving you underneath, but it shouldn't be a plethora of tools. So same thing could be said about audio. Here's a pretty neat example of what happened here in the trailer. I'll quickly play this for you, and brace yourselves because it's not going to sound nice when we get started with it. Can you hear the dialogue at all? It's not there yet, right? All right. Let's see what we can do about it. We introduced the essential sound panel workflow last year, and it already did allow for identifying what's dialogue and then getting just the tools required to make dialogue really sound nice. So I'm going to do, again, a couple of quick things. I'm going to do a loudness match. This is an intelligent thing across the board, so it's actually going to look at the various levels in all of the clips I just marked up. By the way, let me get out of comparison view, so this is easy to look at. It's going to look at that. It's going to match against the loudness standard in your region. If in doubt, you can define that. I'm also going to make sure that we deal with dynamics. We recorded with a couple of different microphones there, so I want to just have good continuity. Same as with color, continuity matters. We all know that, but sometimes it's so hard to produce. So let's see how we do just with that one change.
Struggled with self-doubt. All these questions about like, are you enough?
A bit better, right? But dialogue and music kind of fight each other. So usually this would have been the point in the past where I would have told you, send that to Audition. You still can, but you really don't have to if all you need is very nice ducking against dialogue. So I'm going to look at my music track, just mark that as music in the Essential Sound panel, and this new section here, the eagle eye has spotted it, called ducking. I'm going to enable that. It gives me all kinds of great options. So obviously, ducking against dialogue is my primary motive here, but I could duck against sound effects, I could duck against ambience, anything really that comes into the equation. So in this case, I only have dialogue, I'll stick with it. I'll say generate keyframes, and you can see in the timeline what usually takes as long as the clip is to move the fader up and down and animate it. It just happened in the background in a split second. Cool? Now actually it's not cool yet. We have to listen to it to say whether or not it is.
It gives me a different perspective that I really value. We yearn for these. We yearn.
I don't think it's that cool yet because there's a problem with it. It's a bit much. But here's the thing. I've got control over this. So right now it's at -18, and I think kind of half of that would have done. So I'm just going to recreate my keyframes as I've now listened to it, and I can kind of tell I don't need to duck as much because my music is rather even. And that's really cool about this workflow. You can just play with the settings very quickly and redo it for all of those 2 minutes. Let's listen to that again.
Perspective that I really value. We yearn for these. We yearn to be tested.
So
and we're all going to be gone pretty soon, so how we spend...
Thank you. And again, we're not trying to prevent you from making better choices. If you feel like any of this actually needs to go smoother or a specific transition, you just want to duck a bit more, or the dialogue has a specific thing in it that doesn't feel right against the music, you can keep making changes here as it's dialed in as keyframes, but in the track mixer, as you'll notice,
and our time really matters.
I can still work in the track mixer on the entire track, and it will dynamically keep that true to the ducking process. So it's not keyframes on actually your mixing.
Commonality of it.
It's keyframe on an amplify effect on the music track, so it's very easy and really absolutely, truly fantastic to work with. Huge time saver. And as much as I said, we'll keep it straight to Premiere. Here's the exception, but I will just quickly show this to you. So those of you using Audition will love this. This is the actual Premiere sequence open in Audition. We do this starting with this release, that you can open a sequence straight without any conversion, without any translation, full fidelity, and all of what I've just done in Premiere is well and alive in Audition. So if you're working with a sound engineer who can actually refine that and do better and produce the final mix, you lose absolutely nothing. None of the work that you've done in the edit bay needs to be recreated. It's all transparent and alive in Audition. Now, how are we doing on time? I've got 5 minutes left. Lovely, because I do want to talk about motion graphics templates. We introduced this last year. It's a very great technology to get all of the power in After Effects, kind of similar to what I've just shown you in Audition. Kind of extending the range is always a good thing, right? As long as you're not forced to learn all of the tool set. And if you're working with somebody else who's really deeply into another tool, why not actually bring that power into the edit bay? And that's exactly what motion graphics templates are all about. So they leverage the power of After Effects and give you great motion graphics, nicely animated with all kinds of fidelity you can do in After Effects. But they bring it into an easy workflow in Premiere, just adjusting the bits and pieces that are actually worth changing, like the title or a lead color, all of those things. Now, we got custom-built templates here for this project, which I'll show you in a minute, but if nothing's there and you need to play with ideas, it's actually really cool to see that now we've got Adobe Stock fully integrated into that workflow. So the Essential Graphics panel does allow me to switch to Stock, and demo gods help me out. Hopefully I've got Wi-Fi. And if that doesn't come through, then you've got to believe me that you can, by all means, browse Adobe Stock straight from within here. I might try that in a second and see if the Wi-Fi comes back on. Thing is, thousands of really fantastic, nicely curated motion graphics template on Stock, a lot of them for free. And because we want you to find what you're looking for, we've also changed the way you're browsing. That's actually true for local as much as for browsing the Stock motion graphics templates. You can now isolate, say, I just want to see my local folder, or just want to see what's in my Creative Cloud libraries. That's another option. You can also now very easily filter. As a matter of fact, I know that my graphic here is called master something. So instead of browsing my hundreds, I'll easily find the one that I actually need. And you can now also use favorites. So all of these workflow updates just to make you focus on what you really want to do, work faster. And at the end of the day, we also now have a lot of additional information available to either one of these, and you can add to it. So your own keywords will help you find these later. So we'll call this one SuperMeet. How about that? That tagging stays beyond boundaries, so if I use that in another project, I can identify and find it with that tag. So now on to what we've got in this project. Nicely designed, custom-built motion graphics templates. Let's see what's inside. It would help if they were turned on.
When I am on that seam
Right, so I've got these heavily animated templates. And if you look at what's inside, the neat thing is, in After Effects, that's already probably a comp of 30, 40, 50 layers, and I'm personally actually usually overwhelmed. The good thing is, the artist in After Effects can define what's in these. Now, what's new is that we identified the most commonly used things that people were putting in After Effects in the templates for the last year or so. So you can now see that I have my master position, my master scale now as really nice, clear layout in here, or things like the rotation of the wipe. You can easily bring that in, make changes here. And who would have thought that I could do that in an edit bay with something that someone else designed for me, so I can have access to the most important things. And you can see we use that wipe quite intensely. So this one is actually coming down from the top. The next one is probably straight from the side. Now, but there's a big what if here. Sorry, I'll turn the music off. Now I'm fighting it, and there's no ducking for it. Damn. So what if someone said, and I'll be yanked off in 1 minute, 30 seconds, but I'll finish this one. What if I'm getting a change because the director has said, we've finally decided on the identity of it, so there is a different font. I'll bring that in, I'll do a drag and drop onto this one, and I'll hold down the Option key. And here's the fantastic thing about this workflow. This could be hundreds or thousands of templates in my project. I'll say that I would like to update all of them, but I'll keep all of the customization. So all of the text that I've already entered, all of the changes that I made to the properties, they're just the same. Only what's changed between versions of the template will get updated. So as you can see, I've got the new type here, as much as it's present here, but all of the other characteristics that I've customized in Premiere, they're still there, and I can continue to work as if nothing else would have happened. Thank you. Last thing I'm going to mention, because this is something I care deeply about, we've changed the way we receive feedback. We hear you, sometimes it's really hard to reach us, and sometimes it feels like you're posting to our wish forms and you don't know what's going to happen. We're changing that with this release. If you click on Provide Feedback, and hopefully I've got that page already open, because indeed Wi-Fi doesn't seem to be stuck someplace. I'll show you two things. This is the user voice page. You can come here, enter your own idea, or see what others have asked for. You can do a +1 on either one of these, or indeed bring up something new, file a bug. Once we do something about it, you'll get notified. How about that? And the last thing, as I really will be yanked off, as a lot of people have said, dearie me, new features are nice, but stability is actually better. I think we want to give you both. This is the list of stability updates just with 12.1. We have 180 more already in 12.01 from January, and I can guarantee you this, we will focus on this like crazy. All the engineering teams bought into it, so if you have something that doesn't work for you, please let us know. With that, thank you, thank you, thank you.